Welcome to this edition of the Million Dollar Mastermind podcast. This is where we pick the brains of high achievers from all walks of life and get their hard-earned, real-world insights on winning. I'm your host, Larry Weidel. Let's talk about destiny. Your destiny comes from your direction you're on. And the direction you're on comes from decisions you make. You got to be able to think things through, make the right decisions. That sends you on a certain direction, and that leads to your destiny. But you know what derails the whole? We're on D's right now. You know what derails decisions, direction, and destiny? Denial. If you're living in denial, you're doomed. Man, I didn't realize there's so many good words that start with D. But you can't be helped if you're living in denial. You let yourself deny the truth, deny what's happening. The trouble with it, when you're delusional, is that you can't be reasoned with. There's no way of reaching you because you just explain everything away. And if you're suffering from, or you've given yourself over to delusional thinking, you can't be helped because you're denying reality. And reality is the only tool we cannot be when we're wrong. Let's just say when we're wrong, we need to make an adjustment in our thinking. There's only one tool out there. People can't argue us into seeing because we firmly believe it. And we have reasons we believe the way we believe. But reality comes in, smacks us in the face. And it's the only tool that we all have to keep us on track and keep us headed where we need to head and make the adjustments we need to make. And especially when we're dead wrong. And it doesn't matter if you're sincere, because if you sincerely believe a lie or a myth, it's still a myth. If I sincerely believe gravity is a fiction and does not exist for me, that's just something that somebody made up, and then I go jump off a high rise to prove a point, I'm still, no matter how sincere, how hardworking, how true my intention is, I'm still going to go splat. See, you make yourself unreachable. You doom yourself to failure when you live and let yourself deny reality. So check yourself. What is happening to you? What is happening? What are the results you're getting compared to the results you expected to get? And maybe there are things that you're putting all your eggs in a basket of belief that's really not ever going to pay off for you. So anyway, something to think about. Don't live a delusional life. Accept reality, adjust, because we live in the real world. That's where we have to make our success in the real world. And reality is speaking to us all the time by giving us feedback. We make an effort, we try things, we get the reaction back, and that's reality saying yes, no, or adjust. So anyway, give that a thought and let's make big things happen. Another great example is Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger. Warren Buffett obviously was doing well early in his career, but he was obviously an odd duck. And so one day, his wife came in and said, I hear there's somebody you got to meet through our friends network, that I've got a couple coming over, and there's a guy who is just like you. And everybody laughed because oh no, now now there's two of them. But they came in and hit it off, and what a career they had together with Berkshire Hathaway. And so Warren Buffett, Charlie Munger, and both of them would tell you they wouldn't have the same success without each other. And then also Bill Gates and Paul Allen, I mentioned that earlier. They started working together when they were like young teenagers, 13, 14 years old, because they were both young junior high nerds who were obsessed with computers and would sneak over to Hewlett Packard and work at night on the mainframe because that was the only computer in town. They actually made money, and they wrote some software and did some little programming, but they were primed and ready to go when the first personal computer came out. They had the vision, they thought it through, and they bounced ideas off of each other. Paul Allen was year older. I think he had the beard, so he was more mature looking. And Gates still had that squeaky voice where he still looked like, at 19, he still looked like he was 13. But together, what a team, powerhouse team. Now, you can go all the way down, today, and I've even interviewed on my podcast, you got to look for this, these Zero Shoes. It's called zeroshoes.com. And Steven Sashen and his wife, Lena Phoenix, they were successful in an earlier business. They had retired at a young age. Then he got an idea for these shoes. I won't get into all of that. But the point is sometimes your co-founder is your spouse, because that's what it turned out with Steven and Lena, because she is a great with numbers, organization, the back office type things. And he's great with people and marketing. And that's what he had been his skill before. And I would encourage you to, I've actually had him on a couple of times, but very powerful, but they needed each other. And so that's what will happen is you can be great, but it's hard for you to be great at everything. And plus we all have a limitation of 24 hours of the day. It's just hard. It's hard to get past that limitation. And plus I got two eyes. We have our opinion because one time, it works out like sometimes kind of like this, a Mr. or Mrs. outside and a Mr. or Mrs. inside. We see that all the time in our business. Somebody's great dealing with the public, another one's great processing the business that comes in. So you have the public face and then you have the back office face. And the other side of it is sometimes your ideas are not that great. Sometimes you're just wrong. And it could... I won't go into some of these things, but it's amazing how stupid some of the ideas that some of us and some of our smartest, most genius people have come up with. And so when you've got people around, you can reel you in. It's like, yeah, that's great, but let's just postpone it for a little while. Because sometimes you're just wrong. And if you're the Lone Ranger out there running the show, you can go off on a dead end. You can be your own worst enemy. So let's just sum it up. Finding the right co-founder is much more than just about skills. It's about trust, communication, shared vision. Take your time finding the right person if you can. Maybe you won't be able to. Maybe it'll just be someone who works with you. And then gradually you can bring them up into more of an influential role. But take your time. Find the right person because this partner is going to be key to scaling your business. And thanks for listening to the Million Dollar Mastermind. Now, if you like the episode, don't forget to subscribe, share it with friends, leave a comment, and I will see you next time. We've all heard you are what you eat, but to a large extent, you are what you think. And what you feed grows. And what you're feeding is growing. This is not rocket science. So if you're feeding yourself positive facts, you're going to get solid feedback, solid results. It's good nutrition. And good nutrition cannot give you greasy veins and this, that, and the other. It's that you're from eating pizza and ice cream and stuff like that. You're eating nutritious food. It's going to do different things in your body. And it's the same thing with your thinking. In fact, they've shown that they put these brain scan things on and these electrodes on your brain, and they've shown when you have toxic thinking, immediately it has an effect on the brain. And someone comes in and makes a nasty comment or it's a tense situation or this, that, and the other. All the negative stuff, you get criticized, abusive. Someone comes in and tries to bully you. These test studies, they find that this has negative, disruptive, screw up things on your head. But then you play soothing music. You have happy conversation. This is why with a baby, the parents are doing the right thing by, how you doing? Talk soft, boo, 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 laugh as much as you can. This is programming the brain for success and nurturing, but it has an effect, but it also has an effect your entire life. See, what you feed your head, the thoughts, ideas, the thinking, the way you look at your reactions. And so it's what you look for, you see. That's the other thing. And if you're looking for disaster, you're looking for problems, your program, you're going to see it. But if you're going to see possibilities, and say, well, this could turn out to my advantage. And this is why they say prayer makes such a bit difference in people's lives, because you're tying into a higher power and you're accepting the fact that your life can be better because you're going to have an infusion of other stronger power in your life. And so it's what you look for, you'll see. And this is like we all know, if you think something's going to be hard, it's going to be hard. If you go into a situation and say, I could never do it, you'll never do it. And I remember what Bill Arender said to me a long time ago. He said, just because I can't do something today doesn't mean that I won't be able to do it tomorrow. So this whole thing, I'm not good enough. Yeah, you're not good enough today, but you might be good enough tomorrow. And think about when, the best example of this is when you learn how to drive a car. Like you went on your driving test with your instructor. We're so nervous with a key, we can't even get it to unlock the door. But before it was automatic, click it to open it. It's just like you turning the knobs, adjusting the mirror. Everything was awkward. And the last thing you wanted was the radio to be on, because I've just got to concentrate on this driving, cars coming in. But then the next day, turn the radio. It's amazing how you can acclimate, how fast to these weird situations. And all of a sudden, you're in the car, turn the radio on, it doesn't distract you because you're doing things naturally that before was just one day, 1 week, 1 month can make all the difference in the world. If you just got to give yourself time to kind of grow into it. I remember one of my nephew came out skiing, and he hadn't been out skiing in a number of years. When he was like 8 years old, he took to it like fish to water type thing. But then he came out, and he hadn't been out there in like 6 years or something like that. But he gets on the skis, and he's like, Alfred, I'll never be able to ski. I didn't remember it being this hard. I said, will you just calm down? I mean, we just gotten off the lift. And I said, stop, put the poles in the ground, and just stand on your skis and let your body relax. You've done this before. It was no problem. And it will come back to you. Let your body realize where you are. And okay, he calmed down. And then I said, now push off with your poles and move just a little bit. Okay. And now stop. And now take a breath. This is how we train horses, by the way. Not on skis, but jumping over poles and things like that. Then I said, now stop. Take a breath. Now let's do it again. I swear, I was ready to strangle him. Within 3 minutes, he was shooting like a bullet down the hill. Whereas before, it's like, in a panic, I can't do it, everything. It wasn't this hard before. And so give yourself a chance to get good, to relax, to have a different thought, because you could probably do it. You could probably learn. Whatever you need to learn, you could probably learn. And ask questions. Give yourself a little time. Feed your brain the possibility that this could happen. Get yourself, I wanted to learn something new. I always get the best equipment. I get the best instruction. I get the best examples to follow. And then I can make the most progress in the shortest period of time. Because those are positive things I'm putting in my head. I can do. I could do that. And you may not be able to do anything like the elite do it, but you could do it, some of it, the way the elite do it. And you could start moving in that direction. And so give yourself a chance to be great. Once you feed your mind about your possibilities, has everything to do with how it's going to turn out. Thank you for listening to part 1 of this episode of the Million Dollar Mastermind podcast. Commit to your personal and professional evolution with our free training video. It's designed not just as an educational session, but as a transformative journey for those bold enough to aim for the stars. This isn't just any webinar. It's a roadmap to achieving the extraordinary. It's tailored for those who dare to dream big, and yes, it is completely free. Join us in a network of ambitious professionals ready to take their careers to a new heights. Secure your spot now at WeidelOnWinning.com, and let's unlock your potential together. Thanks for being part of this community.